Well, hello there, my lovelies. It's Trina. Welcome back to my channel. Today on the shores of Lake Erie, I don't know if this is going to work because it's so bright and windy out here, but we'll try. We're talking Montale, Paris, a fragrance house known for its dark and powerful rose and oud combinations. Okay, pardon the camera shake here. The wind is threatening to turn us over, but we will persevere. I have a set of 3 rollerball fragrances from the house here to share with you today, and they're not in the typical Montale style with which many of you might be familiar. All of these are unsurprisingly from perfumer Pierre Montale. Let's dive in. Now, rarely do I say that a fragrance is too strong, but Aromatic Lime, launched in 2005, is too strong. The only way that this fragrance is palatable to me is if you limit yourself to 1 spray, or in this case, 1 stroke of the rollerball, and wear it outside. I wore 2 or 3 strokes of this stuff when I first got it, and it just choked me off. I had to take a shower to get relief. And even then, I could not get 100% respite from this insanely limey, herby, bitter patch bomb. This linear explosion of lime-zested spices is not for the faint of heart. Here are the notes. This is an old style fragrance that runs in the traditional masculine vein. I would describe it as a more unique and far more powerful Dracar Noir style of fragrance. The lime incense will put hair on your balls, whether you have balls or not. It will radiate lime laser beams off your skin to potentially destroy any passerby for at least 3 hours. If you do like this fragrance though, use with caution so as not to create carnage. 3 or more sprays of this in the morning and you'll likely be able to smell it on yourself the next day, I think. I was hoping for fresh lime juice and more gentle herbs when I first opened the cap on this one. Yeah. Instead, my nose is assaulted with myrrh, saffron, galbanum, and patchouli that has been beaten up into a poisonous pulp with a mortar and pestle, smeared onto unsuspecting woods, and then aggressively rubbed over with some lemon zest, making it very dry and smoky. I said it was linear, but in fact the dry down is less zesty, more soapy and powdery, and not as exciting, but also softer. Now, much as I respect powerful fragrances that last forever, this fragrance it's obviously a pass for me, and I think it might be a pass for many of you ladies too. It's certainly a polarizer, and I don't mean to genderize any fragrance, but this does to me fall into that traditional masculine type of concoction. I could see quite an age range of men enjoying this and smelling fine, just as long as they're not trigger happy with the quantity they put on. Don't get 100 or even 50 ml bottles of this stuff if you can help it. This 10 ml rollerball would be all I'd ever need, but yes, I'm passing on this one to a male friend, assuming he likes it. Interestingly, despite being a beast mode fragrance, I can see this working in hot weather too, thanks to the lime. Although no, it's neither thin nor transparent. It's a heavy scent for the summer. And you know, sitting outside here at my friend's home on the deck, this is something I wouldn't mind getting a waft of should it emanate from the wood here I'm sitting next to over here. But I'll ask my host first, definitely. Next we have Woods and Spices, a fragrance from 2005 that is infinitely more wearable, though also somewhat assaulting to the nose upon initial sniff from the bottle. Here are the notes. This fragrance is not as abrasive or loud as many others from the brand, but it does perform like a Montale fragrance. It's better in the dry down. The opening is strong and synthetic in a not so great way, but don't judge it by the start. It does mellow out on the skin and in the air, and a lovely incensed woody creaminess spills forth with time. But sandalwood has more of a cream than wood feel to it, if you know what I mean. I don't describe this as a particularly woody scent, or even incensey for that matter. There's more to it than the 4 notes listed for sure. I think there might be some other spice notes lurking in there, such as maybe cardamom? Maybe, and perhaps some vanilla and tonka bean too. Again, I feel this one falls into the category of traditional masculine. I'm sure the vetiver helps with that, but of course the ladies can enjoy it. It has a slight sweetness to it, almost like cherry blossom, which is not listed here, but I've heard others say that it is in here. For me personally, I prefer to sniff this on a man than my own personal. Yeah, I think this smells distinguished and sexy, and even though it's strong and on the perhaps cheaper side of Montale, somehow it's also understated. I think it has a clean and casual vibe to it, but could be worn dressed up, and although it's dense, I feel it can be worn in warmer weather, day or night as well. It's loud though, so wear it less in the day, wear less of it in the day and more of it in the club. You could more safely blind buy this fragrance in my opinion, but unless you find it for a good price, personally I would not. And the reason for that is some people find there is a synthetic urine-like undertone to this. I don't smell it, but you might, and you might not like it. If you're put off by the fact that there's an oud note in here, don't worry. The oud in here is featured only backstage, way backstage. If you like Versace's The Dreamer, which is a superb, great value fragrance, you'll probably like this, as I feel it's more of a niche take on the same vibe. People have also likened this to Sculpture by Nikos and Desire Blue by Dunhill. You'll probably get compliments with this. I have. Last in the set is Aoud Rose Petals, a floral oudy musk targeting women, also from 2005, which definitely falls within the scent profile of most Montale fragrances. Sadly, however, much as the notes are alluring, this is not a winner for me. Here are the notes. This is supposedly similar to Al Rehab's Asil, but I've not smelled that one. It starts with a very sharp and crisp, clear oud note, which I find medicinal, like Montale's dark oud. It's very bracing, and the rose petals, which are comparatively realistic at least, try to burst past the oud, but don't quite succeed. They're certainly there though. I can see that the saffron, the amber, and the geranium fill out the composition beautifully when the abrasive opening calms, adding some spicy texture to the mix. However, that natural rose is also very soapy, which is something I simply don't appreciate. It's also bright or high-pitched, especially at the start, and reminds me of aldehydes, which I don't care for. They might be in here, but it's hard to tell with that synthetic oud hogging all the limelight. It could be some tangy citrus, but nothing lemon-like is listed. Montale fragrances tend to be more cool weather friendly than warm, but this one is so bright and airy that I feel you can indeed pull this off in summer weather too. Overall, if you're patient and can wait for the dry down, this isn't bad at all. There's a pleasant earthy green undertone to this. I get the image of a rose bed that has been uprooted. All the flowers have been pulled up from the earth and dumped back on the ground, and the soil is damp and rich, and the rose is ripe, fresh, and dewy. Sadly, the oud opening and the soapiness in the rose is just too much for yours truly. I prefer jammier, darker, sweeter roses than the ones offered up in this fragrance. Aoud Rose Petals is very interesting though in the fact that the roses are very pretty and the oud is so loud that it shouldn't work. But it does. For other people, though, not moi. Another rose oud scent that carries a somewhat similar vibe with roses that I do like is Rose Anonyme by Atelier Cologne. That one I absolutely adore. To each their own though, right? Okay, fellow fume heads, I will sign out here. If you have smelled any of these fragrances before, do share your take below in the comments. I love to read them. See you in my next video. And I hope this lighting is good enough because I don't want to refilm. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.